So this is our engine. It is a Yanmar 3GM30 and it often struggles to start, to put it nicely, and it kind of worked. So we've struggled on with it for the last sort of 2 or 3 years that we've owned the boat, done sort of other maintenance projects. It brought us across the channel, which was quite good, to now our permanent residence in the Netherlands. But this winter I'm going to attempt an overhaul and try and get it into some sort of reliable standard. When it runs really well. It never stops, it's never sort of conked out. When we were going over to Cats, it blew the pipe from into the water lift from the engine exhaust, but it still just sort of struggled on. Luckily the water was going through this pipe here, which vents into the cockpit, and the exhaust manifold itself was completely clogged and no water could go through, which was why the pipe blew. There's that pipe there going to the water lift, but I had the exhaust manifold off, cleaned that up completely, took it apart, and now water does flow out the stern of the boat like it's supposed to. You see I've already got the injectors off. That was my job last week. Number 2 injector was completely clogged. It would not move. I could not get the pin out of the injector housing without the help of a vise, so that alone would have improved the engine somewhat. So when you get your injector off the engine, you have something like this. I just wanted to show you something which isn't very well sort of described in the manual. Gets a part here. This is all just the housing. The real injector is this part here. It pokes out the bottom there, and that pin moves up and down, opening and shutting and allowing the fuel into the next chamber. What you've got to make sure is that pin can sort of move up and down freely. That's what you want. My job for today is I'm gonna attempt to remove this horrible old fuel tank in the back, and I'm gonna put a nice new plastic one in. Don't know if you can see there, but whoever put it in decided it would be nice to put half a drinks bottle on the bottom, and that would be a good way to get rid of the water. I don't really think that's the best way to feed the fuel to your engine, so I'm going to take it out and put a better one in. I'm basically just going to start from where the fuel goes into the engine, work all the way through to where the exhaust leaves the engine, and try and get rid of any problems. The next job after the fuel tank is to remove the head, lap the valves in, check the pistons, see if they look alright, and go from there really. I've also got a service kit, so when everything's going back together I can put new fuel filters in, new oil filter in, change a few gaskets, basically just try and get the engine into a standard where we can rely on it. So I've got the fuel draining from the fuel tank into this plastic jug here, and I can already see when I was doing it that there was some nasty scum collecting in the bottom, so even the fuel coming from the fuel tank was less than desirable. I've also just took the valve rocker arm cover off, first time I've ever had it off, and I can already see that down the back there was some fuel leaking out, so replacing the gaskets on that is going to help. Well, it was pure hell moving the fuel tank, and I've got it to there. I'll show you from the outside. Unfortunately, it's 2 centimeters too big for this cap, so I think it's cut it out. Okay, So we've got the rocker arm off. That's sitting there ready for a clean up and a re-grease. It's quite a bit stiff, so change that would hopefully improve the engine. Now when you do this, you've got to watch out the valves. They have these little hats on, like so. Take them all off straight away and put them to one side. I want to keep mine in a little box with my valve cover and rocker arm supports. And I've also got the 2 bolts from the fuel filter, which you have to disconnect, otherwise the head won't come off. As you can see, I've now got the cylinder head off. Where's the torch? Just turn the torch on. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually look that bad. All of these holes that feed water through the engine are a little bit blocked, but not the end of the world. Cylinder head itself, you'll notice I didn't remove the exhaust manifold. The reason for that is I just recently did it and I've replaced the gasket on that, and I don't want to have to replace it again, so I'm going to try and do the job with it on. Now, if you look at the cylinder head here, number 3 is not too bad. 2 looks pretty shocking, and number 1, it's not the best. Nevertheless, a bit of cleaning, I think they'll come up alright. Oh yeah, you can see here, guard with one hand. Oh. This is pretty blocked. Bit of a clean up, I think that'll come up alright. So I've got the cylinder head back home, and I'm just going to go over it with some wet and dry and a bit of warm water. Try and clean it up a bit. I couldn't resist taking out one of the valves just to have a look, and it doesn't actually look too bad. I think perhaps this has been lapped before, but yeah, the valve itself could probably do with a little work. Just a fine grade coarse powder, I think, on that one. We'll see what it looks like on the second cylinder though. That's definitely the worst, but for now we'll just crack on with the wet and dry. So that's just looking 100% better, especially number 2. Hopefully all this work, as well as changing all the gaskets, should really help build compression and make starting a little easier. Just want to show you here, I took off the thermostat housing. Thermostat's housed in there. Behind there you can see where the water would be flowing through the engine, and it's just heavily corroded and pitted. I can only really clean as far as I can see. So here we've got a bucket of warm water and soap method, which seems to be doing quite a good job of the cleaning. Lift it out and submerge it a few times. It's doing quite well. I think I'll leave it overnight. Just having a look at the combustion chambers. So this is where the injector normally goes. Just managed to pull 2 of them out with just a screw. But number 2 chamber, as with everything else, is proving to be the most difficult. Now the old gasket packing, which should look a bit like that, has to come off of there. So that's from number 1, which I've already done. You can see I've got a new gasket all ready to go to the top of there. Give them a bit of clean up. That's just sitting in a bit of alcohol solution. Just as another thing to clean up and renew the engine. So I've put the coarse grade on this valve stem. Just try and get a before shot of the seal. See how it improves. Got all the valves back together, and now I'm going to pour in some methyl alcohol just to see how good the seal is on the valves. Got the cylinder head down the boat now. I'm just giving the mating surfaces a final clean before I start sticking it all back together. It's still coming up dirty. So I've got the torque wrench. I'm just doing up to about a quarter of the prescribed torque. Obviously following the pattern in the manual. Wait for it. That's it. Alright, I've tightened up all the bolts. I'll just put the push rods back in. Gave them a bit of a wipe down first. I'll just start turning the engine over, and already I can just see the air flying around. It's just so much better. The compression is just must be miles better. So far so good. I've got the rocker arm back on. Had to go and visit our friends up at Yanmar because unfortunately this one was cross-threaded, but luckily they've got a donor engine up there apparently, and replaced that one there. So now I've removed the starter motor. I've wound the flywheel around to point number 2. Rusty old flywheel, but there is a 2 there, I guarantee it. It's just a case of setting your feeler gauge to 0.2 mil. I've just adjusted this one under here. Up. Just about right. Just the idea, you turn this until you get the desired height, and then once you have it, tighten the bolt back up. Easy. It's been a good day today. Got quite a lot done. Got the rocker cover back on, all the timing is fixed. Got the air intake fixed. Starter motor is back where it should be. Alternator is in its correct position. Thermostat housing is fitted, and one of the guys from Yanmar came down because he was quite intrigued as to what this crazy Englishman was doing in the yacht harbour, and I asked him about the fuel injection pump, and he said if you get fuel to the top of the pump, I don't know if you can see that there is fuel just at the top of each injector, leave it for 24-48 hours, come back, and if the fuel is still there, then the pump's okay. So I've just jewelry rigged fed a bit of pipe round into a jerry can because we have no fuel tank at the minute, so hopefully that fuel will stay there and we'll know that the injection pump is alright. So here's our new fuel tank, 53 litres. Luckily I managed to find one online where the holes for the old fuel tank are just about here. So I've got these little hooks from the depot store. I'm going to hang it from the old bolt holes from the old tank, so luckily I won't need to drill any new holes. Just been down Belgium's equivalent of do-it-yourself shop. Got some plastic fittings so we can fill her up. There's a little bit here for the breather pipe. Luckily managed to find stuff that will fit in. It's the new fuel gauge, so we'll have the luxury of being able to tell how much fuel is actually in the tank. I'm going to fit that today. Today's a special day because Alex, my brother and co-owner, is coming down and we're going to attempt to start the engine. So if all goes to plan, we'll have a working engine by the end of the day. It's been a good 48 hours and there's still definitely fuel in each of those injectors. I'd say it has gone down a tiny bit, but not enough to be a problem, and on an engine of this age I really don't think that's a problem. I'm still admiring the paintwork.
Half revs?
Half revs.
Keep turning, bro.
So following the failure to launch last time, a bit disappointing, but I decided there's some things that can't be rushed, so I'll just have to go ahead and install the fuel tank. Took quite a while getting in the hole, and the worst part was lining up those hooks and the ratchet straps that are connected to them, suspending the tank that's beneath it and get it all lined up right and no kinks in the line or whatever. But now it's all done, and although it does look like a bit of a spaghetti mess there, these pipes here, they take the water from the cockpit down into there, so it can go out the back through the 3 holes. We've got the fuel lines coming down there. Just put an inline filter in this time. I'm hoping that with a brand new tank it shouldn't really need a big sort of filter. Got the old filter there, a man filter that we had before, and that crap and rubbish, it was doing a job, it was doing something, and that just shows this. If I do eventually get a new engine, at least I'll have a new tank to go with it. So we've got the inline filter there, and there's also a primary filter on the engine. I think between them that should be enough. Brand new tank as well. I'm going to have a look at the injectors. I've read that you can run them away from the engine into a jam jar or something and see if they're actually firing. If they are, then that means it's compression. But I'm also a bit suspect of the oil. It does look terribly black. I was going to try and warm it up and then change the oil and the oil filters, but I might have to go against that. So finally reached the impasse. I found that one likes to fire and that one likes to fire, whether it's on this one or on this pipe. But this one, no matter which pipe it's on, just refuses to fire. I'm going to take it up to Yanmar, see what they say. So the news from the guys over at Yanmar about the fuel injectors is not good. He said he'd be surprised if any engine would ever run with these injectors installed. I said, oh, what's the price of new ones? Like 50 euros each. So I'm just going to take the plunge on those and get some new injectors. I think it's going to give us the best chance of running the engine. Just hope that the compression's good and it wasn't a waste of money. New oil filters going on. I'm waiting for the oil to drain out. Oh, you can't see anything there. I'm waiting for the oil to sort of sink to the bottom of the sump, and with any joy I should be able to get most of it out. I'm still finding more. I think I've got about 2 litres out now, so I don't know how much the engine holds, but I think 2 litres is probably close to what is actually in there. So with any joy, new oil, new injectors, we should be able to start it. Alright, got the new injectors hooked up. Fuel line has been bled. I've disconnected the water pump. Just loosen the bolt there, because I don't want water running through it. I'm going to start the engine up. If it fires, then I'll start connecting the water pump and getting to waterfront for it. It's about 2 degrees today on January the 6th of 2015, so it's a bit too cold to run the water through it. So put brand new oil in, and with any joy, it should this time fire. Yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention. I've read online that putting a hairdryer onto the air intake can help it to start. So I've got the air intake sitting there. It's quite clean, the air. I don't think it's going to be such a big problem not having a filter on. And I've got the old heater lined up to blow hot air straight in. Try and get the heat going. So just as a little final video, I'm going to show you the engine running up. It is warm, so I am cheating a little bit, but the original plan was to get it reliable, and it fires up first time, so I'm happy. I'm going to replace the wiring loom as well, because as you can see it's all a bit of a spaghetti mess, and with any joy all the electrics will work if I do that. So thanks for watching. I hope you have some fun with your Yanmar if you try and rebuild it as well.